All right, guys, welcome. Last week with draft previews here. We finally came to a long road here, and I'm so excited. Football news is going to start this week, and we're going to feature myself. This is what it's all about. You guys are chasing this. It's horror business, and a couple of trades I think won me the league. What do you think, Sean?
I mean, there was a couple, but I think there's one trade that stands out to me. And as we get to your keepers, we'll kind of talk about the one player I think won for you, at least beat me, made you get to the ship. And it was kind of a struggle for me for the same position. So I think there's one player. And if we kind of scroll over to the next slide and take a look at your record, you're 56 and 37, second all time. I mean, I was actually surprised to see that. I mean, I'm not going to say that, you're not a good player. I think the league just tries to beat you every week. Now, I'm actually surprised you're second all time, 56 and 37. You got your 5 and 4 all time playoffs. You made the playoffs 5 times. You have 6 trophies. You do have the 3 divisional wins, but the only trophy that matters is the one you just showed us. So you're .602 fourth all time for win percentage. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. 6 trophies. I think I had one bad year. I finished 18th one year. And after I finished that year, I promised I'd never fell that far ever again. So we'll see how she goes. I know it's getting more and more competitive every year, but I still feel pretty good where I'm at.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you there. Yeah, you're in the red and white division. As we said, last year champion. So, I mean, that says it all. Yeah, super obviously your best finish. And looking at your schedule for next year, you're 1-3 against Green Lightning, 1-1 against Deuce Bombers. We talked about most of all the other ones. You're 4-0 against the 6. You're 4-2 against me. Too good for a name. You're 3-3 against, and I mean that's your arch rival right there. So those are the games.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I gotta tell you guys a secret about last year. So obviously I beat Lucas, and it was Josh Allen that put me over the top. And all day I was listening to him and my brother Brian just like it's over, just giving me a hard time. The whole time I was just telling myself I'm still gonna win that game. I'm still gonna win that game. Lo and behold, it was Josh Allen that won it for me last year in that championship. And because of all that ribbing I got from those guys, I'm gonna give those 2 guys a hard time this year. I didn't give Lucas a hard time when I won the championship because I kind of felt bad for him. But yeah, they're getting a ribbon this year for how they were treating me during the championship game. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen won the championship for you. He's also the reason you snuck by me in round 1. I mean, Matt Ryan, he put up a dud and Josh Allen scored it. I think he only beat me by 3 or 4 points where, your quarterback, saved your day there. I think that trade was, I believe, the second rounder you gave up for him. It was probably the best trade you did. That got you the championship, in my opinion.
Yeah, but those trades have a consequence, and we'll find out later. But when I look at my keepers, I mean, Josh Allen, top 3 quarterback, Nick Chubb, like probably top 5 running back. And then I got 2 other RB1s and Darren Waller, top 3 tight end. And I think Myles Garrett is definitely a top 3 defensive lineman. So I like my keepers. They're the top in most of the categories. And I have 3 starters in the most critical spot in the LOC, and that's at running back.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Mike Davis, there's nobody to really compete with him there. But Chase Edmonds, I personally think he is a starting running back. But it all comes down to what they do over there with James Conner over there. So he might split carries, but I think he's definitely on RB2 at minimum. I think he's definitely has that upside. He has the skill set to be an RB1. So yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan as well. Yeah, Waller, I mean, obviously that's amazing. And Garrett, you're right. He's a good defensive lineman that's going to put up some points for you. But as you were saying earlier, all those trades do come with consequence. You do have a first rounder. You don't have a 6. You don't have a 4th. You don't have a 5th. I mean, you do have 2 8s and 2 10s. So, I mean, in the 4th and the 5th round, you're probably picking, your couple flex players there. It will hurt you. I mean, it's possible, but I think having those 3 running back kind of makes up for it. If they all are starting running backs, I think you'll be in good shape.
Yeah, I agree. And I still in the first 10 rounds there, right? So I think that's going to help. And you look at that's the middle rounds. I think this is where I'm going to be in okay shape. When you look at maybe picking defensive players or even your depth guys, because there's a ton picks there in the middle rounds.
Oh yeah, I mean, I stopped counting after a while. I mean, you don't have a 19th rounder, but you have two 11s, two 14s, two 18, and 3 picks in the 15th round. I mean, you can't go wrong there. You are probably picking your IDPs. You're picking, you said your bench, so you're going to have those picks. You're going to have the best players who, if somebody gets injured, are going to take over a starting spot. So you're definitely in good shape there. But then looking at your back 9, you have 2 picks in the 21st and the 22nd round, and then your last pick's the 29th, but you're really literally winning 4 rounds to make your final pick. So I mean, you're in good shape there.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think for this year, obviously I got Stan with all those picks in my division. I think really, it's him that's probably going to be the top of that division. So it's going to be tough. I think I might still be a playoff team. It's going to be tough because all the teams are just getting better every year, but I'll do my best to defend the title for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, switching over to likely losers over here, he's another Solomonic division player coming out of our division, to make it to the championship game. So I was in the first year and he's the second year. So somebody needs to step up and make it for the third year that, our division's in the championship game. And I think, he's 17-9. He went 8-5 last year. So he went 9-4 the year before that. And he's a good owner. I mean, there's really not much to say. He's He's a good owner. You definitely would like him into the LOC. But for now, he's just in Dynasty in Tier 2.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is what he's got this year. I mean, first year, the Dynasty trophy's been there. And pretty sure he has the best career record in Dynasty. But, for Stewart, you got to look at his lineup. And I think when I look at Stewart's lineup, it's not as strong as you'd think for a championship team. He's got Derek Carr, Matt Ryan. Those 2 guys are, Melvin Gordon's going to be in a timeshare, James Conner timeshare. He's got a couple of second-year receivers that need to prove themselves. Jerry Judy's there. I mean, Diggs is great. I think Higbee's going to have a great year. But, his team, when I look at it, it looked like they moved, NFL.com also moved Jeremy Chin, the linebacker, for whatever reason. I think that kind of sucks for him too, kind of, because he was really good getting good DB points. But, I don't know if he can defend. What do you think?
I think during the season, I thought the same thing, though. Like, his team is not, a championship caliber team. And he won it. So, I can't talk too much shit on the guy. I mean, I didn't think his team was that good, and he won. So, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, Derek Carr, Matt Ryan, they're not the best quarterbacks. They're definitely, in my opinion, neither one of them breaks the top 15. As you said, Connor, Gordon. I mean, we just talked about James Conner. Gordon's also in timeshare. He has a lot of, second-year wide receivers in Judy, Hamler, Mims there. His tight ends are okay. I don't mind his tight ends, so I can't really talk to him. He's Caden Smith, which I think is a really good, backup tight end over in the Giants. But then, like, his linebackers, Vander Esch, is he even going to be a starter this year? So there's a lot of question marks for a team that won it, but I had the same question marks last year. So I don't know. I mean, obviously he's better than me. He won last year, and I questioned his team.
Yeah, I mean, in the division though, so we got to give him a hard time, and hopefully it kind of goes awry for him. And looking at the draft pick scenario for him, he's got no first rounder there. Looks like he traded him away, no third rounder. So obviously he's still try to be in win now mode. He might get a decent player at round 2, but definitely in win now mode. And I'm sure he will be competitive again this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to be competitive. I mean, his round 2 is at the end of the second round. So, I mean, basically, we're at that third round mark. So he's really not picking to the end of the second, beginning of the third. And he has those 2 fourth rounders, 2 fifth rounders. I mean, I do say, Justin Herbert did go in the 8th round, the second to last pick of the draft. So it's always possible you could pick somebody good. But I don't know. I think he's in a tough spot, but I won't second guess him right now.
Fair enough. So as you guys know, next week, we're going to have our first mock draft. So we're going to pick every tier, and we're going to do just round 1. So it's basically going to be Matt, you, Chris, Brandon, and myself picking. And you can see there in tier 2, it'll be Matt picking 1, 6, 11, and 16. Yourself 2, 7, 12, 17. Chris 3, 8, 13, and 18. Brandon 4, 9, 14, and 19. And then myself 5, 10, 15, and 20. So you, myself, will never pick a pick of our own. Same with Matt. And the fun part, I think, in tier 2 is going to be Brandon gets to pick one of his picks for his brother there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh yeah.
I think there's a little mistype in the dynasty rankings. I think, I'm going to pick. I'll have 4 picks, but I mean for dynasty after 16. I mean, we might want to give somebody else 16 just because I pick at 15, you pick 16. So we might want to switch that over to Brandon or Matt to do that last pick of the draft.
Yeah, that one don't matter to me. I mean, if you want to at pick 16, say, hey, somebody else pick for me, go ahead.
Yeah.
I got no issue with that. I'll be interested to see who you go with at number 1 for Joshua, for sure. I think that's going to be fun to watch. And then, I'm curious to see who Brandon picks for my brother and that one for Dynasty. If you guys want to see what their keepers are, I could send you a list for Dynasty so you guys can prep for that one. I don't expect you guys to put in too much work, obviously, but yeah, that one should be fun. And then looking at the LOC, can't even remember the last draft I got to pick first. So it's going to be fun for me to pick first in the mock draft here. And then Brandon picking 2. And I know he picks at 4. So you pick for him. So divisional rival you're picking for. I'm curious to see who you go with. And then Matt, obviously not even being in the LOC, it'll be curious to see what direction he goes in, knowing that he doesn't know most of the owners in the LOC.
Yeah, and the one thing you did bring up was the list. So you will be able to find the list. If you have the list for tier 2, you will be able to see the keepers pull up the keepers for Dynasty and LLC. They're all on the same spreadsheet, so they're all available to you.
Yeah, and I mean, all the previews are posted, I believe, too. So you can also check out the team's rosters in our previews. So, that's why we do these previews, is to look back. And I hope you guys owners are watching these previews and saying to yourself, hey, maybe I need to do this on my team, or just try to generate some interest in you making transactions or whatever you need to do to be active in the league. We do this for you guys, and I'm super excited. 2 weeks away. So mock draft next week. It's going to be live. Looking forward to it, and looking forward to the season coming up.
Yeah, I'm super excited as well. I do have a bachelor party before the day before the draft, so hopefully I'm not too hungover. But it'll be a fun time either way.
You're screwed. See you in tier 2 next year.
See you, buddy. Have a good one.
Nice.
Bye.